Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today's message is all about the fact that love is an action. It is not an emotion. And on top of that, I really believe that love is a choice. It is a choice of engagement. It is not, just something that happens. It is not just an emotion. And this is a really powerful point, I feel, for most of us who want to live an extraordinary quality of life. And that's always going to involve relationships. And what connects us all is that love. And so many of us are confused about what love is. We think it's this emotion, but ultimately, it is, emotion is fleeting. Whereas love is strong and centered. Love is directive. Love is a choice that we make each and every day to show up in. It is not just, do we feel like we love this person? Do we feel love? No, it is a choice to experience it and be it and take the action toward it. And ultimately, when it comes to relationships, we've all heard of the breakdown of relationships where, we loved them, but we just weren't in love with them anymore. And yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. But being in love with somebody takes a committed action. It takes determination and it takes intention. But when we feel like love is a fleeting emotion, so too are our connections and our relationships. So we have to empower ourselves around love and recognize that we hold all of the power in terms of what we choose to experience in our love lives and in our lives, in our everyday lives. So really wanting you to get this. It's the whole concept around, your actions speak much louder than your words. We can all talk a big game when it comes to love and say we love somebody, but what are the actions that we are taking to not only experience love and make that person feel loved, but also stay committed to love and make that choice to show up each day and take action towards generating and experiencing and tapping into the love that is there and that can be recognized. So that's really what I'm wanting to talk to you guys about. I wanted to check in with you guys because I'm doing a really quick Facebook Live today. So make sure you're dropping any questions, comments, feedback, all of it below. I'm about to race out the door and head back to Melbourne. So I wanted to just jump on and make sure I got on with you guys today. But I love having you here, Stephen and Hassani and Graham and Selma. Nice to have you. And Rian and Mohammed. Awesome to have you guys, and Komang and George and Mido and Susanna and Agneta and Mark and Mustafa and Troy, Moises, awesome, and Car and Elaine and Gerardo. Hassani, so is it something we should force if we don't feel it? What a great question, and that's why I always love having you here, Hassani. I love it so much. So I really believe that it depends what we're talking about in terms of love, but no, I don't think that love needs to be forced at all. I think that love is also recognizing when we don't necessarily want to be in I think you're referring to intimate relationship here, Hassani. Correct me or give me some more information there. But if I'm assuming correctly and you're talking into intimate relationship and when we have fallen out of love with a person, my definition of falling out of love is no longer being able to see a compelling future with that person. But what I would want you to question is, what action have you been taking in order to generate that compelling future, and what action have you been taking to actually realize it and actualize it? And if you have, and if you feel like you just have lost that connection and you have been taking the action, but it just doesn't feel right, we don't have to be in intimate relationship with every person, and I believe we need to be selective about who that life partner is for us. And so what I would say is, if you do not feel it anymore, yet you have been integral with your words and you have taken action in terms of generating a great love between you two, and you're not just feeling like love is an emotion and you're just not feeling it so much today, but you haven't really been doing anything to generate those loving feelings, then ultimately, then that's where you need to decide what course of action is moving forward. And I really believe that love is who we are, and ultimately we want to find somebody who we can be all of who we are with, and that we can get outside of ourselves and connect with loving energy with that other person. That takes action, it takes intention, and it takes making that shift from believing that love is an emotion to actually identifying that love is an action. And sometimes love's action is to leave a relationship that is no longer serving the individuals present, and to create a more compelling future is coming from a place of love, whether that's with that person or not. So never ever, I don't like to say that love can be forced, it just can't. But what I would actually get you to question is, how much is that love, that you want to experience? Is it coming from your higher self, or is it coming from your ego? And you're like, there's two different modes, and ultimately love that is coming from our ego, that's that forced, that's that neediness, that's that trying to lock somebody down or get away from somebody and get our independence back. It's like it's ego driven and therefore not love. Love is, knowing the right thing to do the right course of action in that moment that up levels yourself, your higher self, and the other person and all those around you. It's not ego driven whatsoever. I really hope I wasn't rambling too much there, Hassani. I really always appreciate your questions. Let me know if that was helpful, or if you can give me some more clarification there that I could potentially give you a better answer with. Appreciate that so much. And Stephen, afraid to love someone when you know the other person doesn't feel the same way. Well, really what we're afraid of, because love isn't scary. What we're really afraid of is our rejection, the abandonment, not having those feelings reciprocated. And ultimately that's still coming from the ego. So that is an alert. Whenever we're coming from the ego, it's just alerting us to the fact that we're human, first and foremost, but also it's alerting us to the fact, where do I feel unworthy? Where do I feel unlovable? Why am I putting the power in this external force to determine my lovability or my worth or value? And how can I do the work on myself to up-level that so that I feel totally worthy and I feel totally able and courageous enough to express my love for somebody else despite their reaction? Because if their reaction is anything else other than, I'm not attached to their response to it, because I'm coming from a place of love rather than ego and disempowerment by placing the power in the other person's response. So that from that place, we can't build a healthy relationship when we're reliant on somebody else, or we're too scared to show up in our own love and our strength. I'm guaranteed there is nothing more beautiful and more connective from another human being than them showing up with courage, authentically showing and expressing their love, being all of who they are. That you have to be coming from a really strong place, and there is nothing more attractive than that. I really do believe it. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. When you see somebody who's being truly authentic and coming from a real place of genuine love, like, everybody gravitates towards that. It's such a beautiful thing. It's it shines light on what we all want to feel, what we all want to experience. And it's that freedom to be all of who we are and love fully and express our love fully without the fear of the response from the external world, and recognizing that when we are in that fear, it's because we're not actually coming from that strong place of love. We're still seeing love as that fleeting emotion, and we're trying to get something from the external world to prove that we are worthy in our internal world. So it's really valuable stuff to just build your self-awareness around, and then be able to do the work on you to get to that place of loving strength where you can courageously, lovingly and boldly be authentically you, and despite whatever responses, you don't let responses or perceived responses in the external world hold you back from the truth of who you are. Hope that was valuable, Stephen. Again, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling today, but I really hope my words are valuable to you guys. Michael, awesome to have you. And Gabrielle, I love having you back. And Savula. And yes, Susanna, I'm with someone who's all talk. And I think we've all kind of been there. And if we're really honest with ourselves, at times we've been the person who's been all talk, right? And so it's sort of what I was just mentioning based on what Stephen just suggested there or contributed to our conversation today. It's that, we are all talk. When we're fearful, we're holding ourselves back because we're fearful of our own lovability, and we need somebody else to go first. Everybody's always waiting for somebody else to go first, and we're not stepping forth from a strong place of courageous vulnerability and expression of our love, which is ultimately the truth of who we are. And Susanna, so what I would say to you in terms of that is to recognize, put yourself in your partner's perspective, in their shoes, and look at their perspective and recognize that the reason why we don't show up fully and engage fully in our love is because of our relationship with self and not feeling worthy. And so I would be more loving to those people who are all talk rather than condemn them for not stepping up, which is really hard to do, particularly when you're in that relationship. But if you can be a leader of love and show more love, be more courageous. It was Gandhi that said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And that is what you need to do in your relationship. So if you're with a partner who's all talk and you want them to step up more courageously and express how they feel with you, you got to do that first. And sometimes that's when we recognize that we're trapped in our own ego too, and we're kind of being all talk as well. And so I love that you've shared that with us, Susanna. I hope my comments were valuable to you and all you guys out there. And Wayne and Caden, awesome to have you back. And Nu, thank you so much. I always appreciate your support so much. And Mike, lovely to have you. And Scott, yes, Hasani, you were talking into your intimate relationship. Definitely love, it's never about forcing love. It's about being more self-aware, tapping more fully into the highest version of who you are, which is always going to be coming from a real truth of love, and recognizing when a relationship is serving you and the other person or if it's not. And you've got to have that courageous action from love to take the steps and take the action in the direction that is best for you and your highest self, not ego driven. And ultimately that's going to be best. Whatever is best for you and your highest self is going to be best for the other person that you're in relationship with, whether they can see it or not. You just have to do the work to build your self-awareness, to identify whether it's coming from love and strength and your truth, or coming from your ego trying to either hold on, or you're trying to get your independence, which are either, they're coming from that fear-based place, which is never going to be healthy. But yeah, tapping into building that self-awareness around coming from that loving strength and your truth, and taking the courageous action, no matter what direction that is, either to leave the relationship or to courageously step up where you haven't been and take the loving action towards engaging that relationship and bringing it to a true place of love. I hope that was helpful. And Ryada, nice to have you, and Chris and Lachlan and Mike and Daniel and Mwembutsia, I always feel like I should practice your name. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. And Mully and Chris, love or fear, choose one. Definitely, spot on. And it's such a great way to frame life, I believe. Like if we can recognize that everything in life is either coming from love or it's coming from fear. Everything, every thought, every action, every interaction, it's either based from love or fear. And if we can simplify life that way and choose to take action in the direction of love with courage, which can only be generated from you having a great relationship with yourself, and not relying on external forces to, prove your worth, your value, your lovability, then ultimately we're going to be able to make great choices that propel us forward, and that's always going to come from love, not fear. Love your comments there, Chris. Thank you. And Brondi, awesome to have you. And Michael, Chris, I love you. You're great. Oh, thank you so much. I definitely really appreciate your kind compliments there. Thank you so much, Chris. And yes, Gabrielle, the science of loving. I love that. It's not only a science, but it's an art. We've got to be able to, have the science behind it, like take the action, know the direction, know the steps towards, moving and shifting into love, but then being able to sort of be spontaneous, sort of be able to battle with, the human experience, which is more of an art form. It's about, discovering the ways in which we can find love in fear and transform it into something beautiful and unique. So I love that, Gabrielle. Thank you for sharing your comments here. And Fiona, awesome. And Paul, so grateful that this is all helping and resonating with you. Appreciate you. And Tony and Grant and Kirill, Moises, thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate you so much. And Alex, awesome to have you. And Mark and Ashley. Ashley, it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself to let go of a relationship that doesn't serve you or isn't fulfilling you. Beautifully said, Ashley. I completely and 100% agree with you. I am all about people stop settling for fear and start reaching for love. And if that means that you have to let go of those relationships in your life, then I welcome it. When I see people, going through breakups, getting out of friendships, all the rest of it, leaving workplaces and all of those sort of things, I get seriously excited because I feel like it's often because that person is stepping up in a courageous way and from a place of strength and going after the life that they are really, they've got the potential to step into, rather than just settling and staying stuck in our needy fears of having that certainty. Yeah, definitely. I love that so much, Ashley. Completely agree. I love having you here. And Hassani, yes, it was. Never looked at it that way. Oh, grateful that this has given you a bit of a new perspective. That's what I'm here to do. And Samuel, nice to have you. Thank you, Moises. And Sean. Awesome, guys. I really have to take off because I'm about to run out the door and everybody's probably waiting for me. But I just wanted to make sure that I could bring you this powerful message today. I really hope that it has resonated with you guys and that you recognize that love is an action. It's not a fleeting emotion, and it takes intention, and it takes you stepping up with courage, authentically, and doing the work on you so that you can come from that place of loving strength, as opposed to just those fleeting emotions and waiting for somebody else to go first and prove to you that you are lovable and worthy. You got to do that work yourself in order to create a really healthy, strong foundation for an extraordinary quality of relationship. And last comments here, just check in before I sign off. Thanks. You're so welcome, Chris. And Gustavo, I really hope that you listen to the recording and you gain massive value out of today's message. Drop any questions, comments, feedback, anything of the sort below, and I will definitely make sure that I'm engaging with you guys. If you have any ideas for topics or questions that you'd love for me to answer on a live video on one of the upcoming ones, then definitely let me know either in the comment or send me a message, and I will definitely make that happen for you. And hi George, and hi Craig and Nathan. Hope you guys catch the recording because I'm just about to sign off. But sending so much love, light, blessings, gratitude, enthusiasm, energy, everything extraordinary to all of you guys out there. And I hope that today's message inspires you to start taking action from a place of strength and love, rather than just waiting for everything to just sort of play out and unfold and, not be intentional. So much love to you guys. And for everybody who's just joined me now, please catch the recording. Hope you get tons of value from it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So much love.